It starts as a harmless prank, two young men passing time on a long drive. However, they're about to learn the hard way that some people don't take pranks lightly. Welcome back to Recap TV. Today we're diving into the 2001 horror thriller film, Joyride. If you enjoy story recaps like this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more recaps like this. Now get comfy and let's dive right into the story. The story opens on a quiet evening in two distant college towns. Lewis lies stretched out on his narrow dorm bed, phone pressed to his ear, his voice low and warm. On the other end is Venna, the girl he's carried a quiet, steady love for over the years. She tells him her relationship just ended, that she feels alone, that she misses him more than she expected. She jokes that she wishes he had a car so he could drive across the country and come get her. Wanting to impress her, and unable to resist the chance to be the one she turns to, Lewis lies and says he has a car, and he will be there. By the next morning, Lewis heads to a lot and buys a used car, ready to cross the miles between them. On the road, Lewis calls his mother to tell her of his plans. She informs him that his older brother, Fuller, has been arrested again. Despite his misgivings, Lewis agrees to stop at the jail to pick him up. On the way, a police officer pulls Lewis over for a broken taillight and an illegal traffic move, giving him a ticket. Finally, he retrieves Fuller, a reckless older brother, and they start their journey to pick up Venna. While stopping at a gas station, Fuller, ever the mischief maker, pays a man $40 to install a CB radio in Lewis's car. The device, commonly used by truckers to share locations and warnings, immediately becomes a tool for Fuller's schemes. On the road, Fuller tries to make contact with nearby truckers but gets no response. Then, seizing the opportunity for a prank, he convinces Lewis to use a high-pitched, flirtatious voice and pose as a girl named Candy Kane, looking for company. Hesitant at first, Lewis eventually gives in, playing along for fun.
Hey, Black Sheep, this is Candy Cane. I've been looking for you all day.
Soon, a deep, gravelly voice responds.
Candy Cane, come on.
Haha, I knew it. These guys are so fucking horny.
Fuller's eyes light up. He urges Lewis to ask the trucker's name. The voice answers, Rusty Nail. Encouraged, Fuller pushes Lewis further, telling him to flirt provocatively over the radio. Lewis complies, slipping into the persona of Candy Cane, and the brothers laugh as the conversation becomes increasingly intimate. Their amusement lasts only until the signal abruptly cuts off, the connection lost as they drive out of range. Later, the brothers arrive at a roadside motel. Fuller heads inside to secure a room for the night, while Lewis waits in the car. Inside, Fuller encounters a man in a suit, furious about the motel's service, who loudly complains and shoves Fuller aside. Meanwhile, the CB radio crackles to life again. It's Rusty Nail, asking for Candy Cane. Fuller returns to the car and is instantly thrilled by the situation. He wants to pull off a prank and tells Lewis to answer the radio, inviting Rusty Nail to the motel and directing him to room 17, the very room of the angry businessman they had just seen inside. Lewis hesitates at first, but under Fuller's pressure, he slips back into the girly voice. As Candy Cane, he invites Rusty Nail to meet at the motel in room 17 and to bring pink champagne. Rusty Nail accepts, and the brothers laugh at the audacity of their scheme. Later, the brothers lie in their room, situated right next to room 17. At midnight, the sound of a truck arriving breaks the quiet, and they see a man walking toward the room. Excitement mixes with nerves as they press against the wall, trying to hear every word. Suddenly, a heated altercation erupts, followed by a loud thud, gasping, and then silence. A cold dread settles over them. Fuller tries to convince himself it was nothing, but Lewis calls the motel reception to report what they've just heard. Soon, the phone rings from room 17. The receptionist trying to reach someone inside, but no one answers. By morning, the police have arrived. They question the brothers, who can only recount fragments of the night's events. The sheriff decides to show them in person. At the hospital, they see the man from room 17 lying in a coma, his jaw horrifically ripped open. The brothers are taken to the station for questioning. Lewis tells the officers everything, and the sheriff, furious at their reckless prank, warns them sternly. He lets them go on one condition: they must leave the state and never return. Back at the motel, the brothers argue. Lewis blames them for the chaos, while Fuller insists it wasn't their fault. With a grudging understanding, They decide to continue their journey. Evening falls again. Their quiet drive is suddenly interrupted by the CB radio crackling to life. Rusty Nail's chilling voice slips through the speakers, calm and deliberate, asking for Candy Cane. The brothers tense up. Fuller decides to answer as himself, pretending he has no idea who Candy Cane is. But Rusty Nail keeps pressing, his tone almost obsessive as he repeats the name. Lewis grows more anxious with every word, while Fuller's patience snaps. He starts insulting Rusty Nail, calling him a psycho. Lewis quickly takes the radio and blurts out the truth. It was just a prank. There is no Candy Cane. Rusty Nail doesn't sound surprised. Instead, he demands an apology. Fuller refuses. He snatches the radio back and shouts, mocking and disrespecting him. Then comes the reply. Cold, precise, and terrifying.
You really ought to get that fixed.
Get what fixed?
Your tail light.
A wave of horror washes over the brothers. Rusty Nail knows who they are. He knows what they're driving. Panicked, they scan the highway behind them. Any one of the trucks trailing them could be Rusty Nail. Then Lewis notices their fuel gauge, nearly empty. With no choice, they take the next exit in search of a gas station. They find one. Fuller jumps out to pump gas while Lewis heads inside to pay. He spots a phone and immediately calls the police. Outside, an ice truck pulls in. Fuller freezes. A man steps out, gripping a bat. He thumps his tires with it, then begins walking toward the station. Fuller waves frantically at Lewis through the window. Lewis picks up on it instantly. The man glances at Lewis. Lewis quietly hangs up the phone and rushes to the cashier to pay, keeping his eye on him the whole time. The man follows him, and Lewis panics, bolting out the door. Fuller jumps back into the car, and the brothers speed off. The man runs outside, clearly trying to stop them. A chase begins. Lewis swerves wildly, but the truck stays close behind. Eventually, they hit a dead end. The truck rolls to a stop behind them, and the man approaches their car. Inside, the brothers are frantic. Fuller shouts through the window that they have a gun, but the man simply taps on the glass, holding out a MasterCard. Lewis's MasterCard. Lewis had left it behind in his panic. Relief floods the car. They joke about the man's mustache and ask about the bat, and he casually explains he was just checking his tire pressure. Then he heads back to his truck. Lewis and Fuller breathe deeply, trying to calm themselves. They step out, embarrassed. Maybe they really did overreact. Then, a sound.
What the hell is that?
A massive black truck bursts through the other truck with brutal force before roaring straight toward them. It's Rusty Nail. Lewis slams the gas, smashing through the gate, blocking the road. A high-speed chase erupts. Despite its enormous size, Rusty Nail's truck keeps up with them effortlessly, almost unnaturally. Lewis cuts sharply around a corner, finally losing sight of the truck. But the sudden turn sends their car spinning off the road and slamming into a tree. They're stuck. Lewis frantically tries to free the car as Fuller screams in panic. Then massive headlights flood the interior. Rusty Nail's towering truck looms just feet away. Slowly, deliberately, it begins to crush their car against the tree. Metal groans. Glass cracks. The brothers are trapped, helpless, seconds from being flattened. In desperation, Fuller grabs the radio and shouts an apology. Everything stops. Rusty Nail's voice comes through, low and thoughtful. He asks why they pulled the prank in the first place. Fuller, terrified, admits the truth. They were just messing around for fun. A long moment passes. Then Rusty Nail responds with something almost like amusement.
Well, I was just playing with you, man.
His truck backs away, swallowed by the darkness, leaving the brothers shaken and alive. For now. Shaken, they discard the CB radio out the window and continue their journey. Lewis and Fuller finally arrive to pick up Venna, a kind-hearted girl, at her college. She introduces them to her roommate Charlotte, who is leaving to head home. The three get into Lewis's car, and the drive feels calm at first. To unwind, Fuller suggests stopping at a local bar. They take shots, laugh, and try to push the past 24 hours out of their minds. But Lewis can't shake the weight of Rusty Nail lurking somewhere out there. When Venna goes to the counter to order another round, a group of men start harassing her. Before things escalate, Lewis steps in and confronts one of them. The tension spikes instantly, hands clench, voices rise, but Fuller quickly jumps between them, causing a loud scene to break the moment, then drags Venna toward the exit with Lewis close behind. They return to the motel. Venna heads to her own room, while the brothers share one down the hall. Lewis collapses onto the bed and falls asleep almost immediately. Fuller, however, lies awake, thinking, scheming, restless. After a moment, he slips out of the room and makes his way to Venna's door and casually suggests they keep the night going. Venna hesitates but eventually lets him in. Meanwhile, back in the brothers' room, the phone rings. Lewis is jolted awake. Half asleep, he answers and freezes. Rusty Nail's voice oozes through the line. He asks about the girl. Lewis insists there is no girl. Rusty Nail replies, almost amused. Then what's she doing in her room? With your brother? Lewis's blood runs cold. He bursts out of his room and sprints to Venna's. He throws open the door in a panic, shouting at Fuller. Breathless, he explains. Rusty Nail is still out there. He's watching them. He knows they're brothers, and now he knows about Venna too. Lewis is furious at Fuller for being in her room, but fear quickly overshadows anger, while Venna stares at them both, confused and scared. They don't waste another second. The trio rushes to the car and speed off into the night. Venna demands answers, arguing with Lewis. In the middle of the argument, Fuller notices something ahead. Spray-painted road signs. Look, in the trunk. He stops the car. They argue briefly. Should they open it or not? What if it's a trap? What if it's a body? Venna steps forward and lifts the trunk herself. Inside is the CB radio they had thrown away earlier. In disbelief, they reinstall the CB radio. Eventually, Rusty Nail's voice slides through the speaker, smooth and controlled. Now his interest has shifted towards Venna, but Lewis and Fuller demand to know what he wants. But Rusty Nail begins drifting into a monologue. Details about how to kill someone slowly, how to peel a person apart piece by piece. His voice is disturbingly casual. Then suddenly, a scream cuts through the radio. Venna's heart drops. She recognizes it instantly. Charlotte. Confusion, terror, and disbelief flood the car. Rusty Nail gives them an order to head to a specific diner and wait there for more instructions. And he warns them, if they even think about going to the police, he will start taking Charlotte apart. Morning rises as the trio waits in the diner parking lot, exhausted and tense, listening for Rusty Nail's next instructions. Eventually, his voice cuts through the CB radio. He wants to humiliate them. He orders Lewis and Fuller to walk into the diner completely naked and buy 12 cheeseburgers. Frustrated, embarrassed, but knowing they can't defy him, the brothers strip down and step inside, hands barely covering themselves, while Venna stays in the car, trying desperately to reason with Rusty Nail. She pleads with him to forgive the brothers, to let this end. Rusty Nail's reply is ice cold. It's too late for that. Inside, Lewis and Fuller are immediately confronted by the diner manager, who's seconds away from throwing them out. But before things escalate, the car horn blares outside, Venna's signal. Rusty Nail has given new orders. They rush back to the car and follow his directions to a lonely road beside an enormous cornfield. Rusty Nail tells them to get out and start walking forward. The trio obeys. As they move down the empty road, the sound hits them, deep, rumbling, unmistakable. A truck engine. Rusty Nail's rig bursts into view, barreling straight toward them. They sprint into the cornfield just in time to avoid being crushed by the truck. A terrifying search begins. Rusty Nail drives into the corn, his truck creeping between the stalks, a spotlight sweeping violently across the field. The beam catches movement, and the truck surges toward it. Lewis, Fuller, and Venna break out of the cornfield onto a narrow dirt road, running for their lives with the truck right behind them. At the last second, they dive into a ditch, and the truck roars over them. In panic, they split up. Rusty Nail quickly spots Venna and veers after her. She darts back into the cornfield, narrowly dodging the truck as it skims past her. The engine cuts. The door creaks open, and Rusty Nail steps out. Lewis and Fuller crouch in hiding, separated and unaware of each other's position. Venna hides too, trembling in the darkness. Then, in an instant, a hand clamps over her mouth. Lewis and Fuller hear her muffled screams, crashing through the stalks toward the sound. But by the time they reach the clearing, the truck is already tearing away with Venna inside. The brothers fall into a heated argument, each blaming the other for losing her, until a sudden bloom of fire cuts the fight short. Their car is burning. Lewis rushes toward it, grabs the CB radio from the back, and shouts into it, begging Rusty Nail not to hurt her. Rusty Nail responds with the same terrifying calm as always. He wants the brothers at a nearby motel, room 17, and he wants them to bring pink champagne. Fuller notices the flames growing dangerously close to the fuel tank. He yanks Lewis away just as the car explodes behind them. They watch helplessly as their only means of chasing Rusty Nail is swallowed by flames. Shaken, out of options, and knowing the clock is ticking, the brothers scramble across the lot, and thanks to Fuller's criminal past, they manage to steal a nearby car. Meanwhile, at the motel, Venna sits bound to a chair as Rusty Nail works in chilling silence. He rigs a lethal shotgun trap, the barrel aimed directly at her, set to fire the moment someone opens the front door. He gags Venna, then calmly calls the police, reporting that there are dead bodies at his location. It takes Lewis and Fuller time to track down the right place, but when they finally find the motel, they approach room 17 cautiously. The scene cuts between them and Venna, her breaths sharp and terrified. The brothers slowly push the door open inch by inch until it swings wide. But the room is empty. Venna isn't there. Rusty Nail played them again. The phone rings. Lewis answers. Rusty Nail's voice oozes through the speaker, mocking him. Lewis demands to know where Venna is, but gets no clear answer. Still, something clicks. From Rusty Nail's words, Lewis realizes the truth. He's in the next room, just on the other side of the wall. Lewis orders Fuller to circle around back and check the windows while he keeps Rusty Nail talking. Fuller slips into the backyard, but as he tries to look inside, he makes a noise. The sound is small, but not small enough. A window explodes. Rusty Nail's massive arm shoots out and grabs Fuller instantly. Lewis hears the commotion and bolts for the front door. His hand trembles on the handle. Inside, Rusty Nail restrains Fuller, whispering, almost delighted, "Watch this. It's going to be hilarious." Fuller fights to speak, to shout a warning, but Rusty Nail's grip holds. Lewis slowly continues to turn the handle, each second bringing Venna closer to death. In a burst of adrenaline, Fuller wrenches himself free, stumbling backward and impaling his leg on a jagged metal pole. Screaming in agony, he manages to yell for Lewis to stop. Lewis immediately pulls his hand from the handle. Furious, Rusty Nail storms outside after Fuller and forces his already impaled leg deeper onto the metal spike. Fuller's scream tears through the night. Hearing it, Lewis sprints around the building and finds his brother hanging half-suspended, the metal pole driven through his leg and twisted to trap him in place. Farther down the lot, a truck begins to line itself towards them. Meanwhile, police cars screech into the lot on the opposite side of the building. Officers move in, clearing rooms one by one. Fuller realizes what's about to happen and urges Lewis to save Venna before it's too late. Lewis races into the room. Just as the police open the front door, Lewis shoves Venna out of the trap's line of fire. Chaos erupts. Officers shout at Lewis, assuming he set the trap. Lewis tries to explain, but there's no time. He darts back to the yard to help Fuller. The truck engine roars. Headlights flare. The vehicle charges toward them. The sheriffs order Lewis to stand down, until they too see the truck barreling forward. Shots crack through the night. With milliseconds left, Lewis rips the twisted metal free from Fuller's leg and drags him aside. The truck plows through the fence, through the wall, and straight into the motel room, just as Venna and the officers escape out the other side. Silence falls. Smoke drifts, dust settles. The sheriffs approach the crumpled truck and find a dead driver slumped inside. On the floor behind the seat lies Charlotte, bound, shaken, but alive. Later, the trio stands with the sheriff, dazed and exhausted. Lewis asks who the driver was, and they get an answer they weren't expecting. His name was Jones. He worked for an ice company. Confusion flickers into dread. The dead man is the ice trucker from earlier. Rusty Nail faked his death. And then, through the police radio, calm as ever, Rusty Nail's voice crackles to life.
I'm looking forward to the storm. Keeps everyone inside. Washes everything clean.
Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.